Welcome to the Winter Show. We are delighted to have you here at this year's edition of America's leading art, antiques, and design show. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's fireside chat, Gallery Editor-in-Chief Jacqueline Terrebonne and the wonderful designer Aline Hazarian. So I'm going to turn it over to them as we discuss classic meets contemporary. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie, for having me today.
Of course, of course. Aileen and I first met very much here at the Park Avenue Armory, thanks to our wonderful Benoit from Maison Girard. And he showed me your beautiful pieces, which were on display at a fair. And I just fell in love with them. And he said, "Oh, you have to see her home in Paris. You have to see Aileen's home in Paris." And as the editor of Galerie magazine, you hear that a lot from people. Of course, I trust Benoit and his taste on everything, but when
we all do, I guess.
We all do. But when I saw Aileen's home and what vision she has for mixing classic and contemporary, mixing art and design, just as we do at Galerie, I was absolutely blown away. She had taken the Parisian houseman idea and blown it out of the water, and she's such a brilliant mind and has such a great eye and creates such beautiful furniture and lighting. I'm thrilled to be here with you, Aline, to talk about your vision and your home.
Thank you, Jackie.
Your Parisian home is featured in our current issue of Galerie, which I love when timing works out like that. And truly, the images are spectacular. What kind of state was the apartment in when you moved in, when you acquired it? Because I feel like people see these beautiful pictures and you're just like, oh, she just put a few paintings on the wall and moved in some furniture and it was done. But that was not the case.
No, absolutely not. It was a very beautiful apartment, I have to admit, but nothing was there, not even the wall paneling nor the mantels, but we made it in a way that it existed ever since in 19th century, because it's a late 19th century apartment.
And what were the first steps you took in transforming the space?
The layout, I guess, to make it comfortable for us, the flow, how we lived in it, the spaces, we like the rooms, how much we needed for each space.
And what was important in terms of the flow and how you wanted the rooms to lay out?
We did follow the Parisian style, the French, from one room to the other, walking, to enjoy really how they used to live back then.
Amazing. And I love that each room in this space tells a different story. There's really different things happening, different moods, different atmospheres, but everything comes together as one. What were some of the traits that distinguish each of the spaces? And then how did you make sure that there was this line throughout it?
As you know, in France, the wood panels are very famous. Since 17th century, they started doing it. The wood panel room that you have seen, it's from the Regency period with the lines that's more modern, and then something that we would feel comfortable living in it. The gilded room with white paintings and with gold leaves, it's more like a space which you feel very peaceful. When you move from one space to the other, you don't feel like you moved a very different space.
And can we talk a little bit about the wood paneling and the boiserie work in each of those rooms and how you brought those into the home and what that process was like?
Actually, everything has a story. It took me a while until I decided. I went through a lot of research. And as you know, in France, there are so many, the savoir-faire in France. One of the main artisans, I went for days and days to choose the right paneling. It's modern, it's at the same time from Regency period. Right. We make it in a way that we can feel comfortable. And the color, especially the color, usually the oak is lighter. Here we made it a little bit darker so that, you know, it creates a different mood. It's all about creating a mood when we come to decoration.
Definitely. And I think you create such a mood when someone walks into your home and enters that gallery space.
The gallery space, yeah, because I wanted something to look like majestic. With creating a curve, it made it the whole thing, you know, and especially the lighting, the sconces that diffuse the light and create this atmosphere. The flooring, which contrasts with the black and white, it's by keeping it so simple.
And what were your inspirations for that space and that mood?
More influence, because it's over the years that comes. It's not just like having an inspiration, just you know, instinctively.
Right.
It was from the Versailles, Chateau de Versailles, the lower apartments. When you walk there, I mean, it has always influenced me to have something. And the minute I walked into this apartment, I said, I'm going to try to create. Luckily, we had the height to be able to do the curve.
Absolutely. It really is majestic.
Yeah. And the bronze adds, you know, like a jewelry, because metal, it's a metal. I love to use metal. Like we wear sometimes jewelry to elevate. So,
And I feel like metal and even mirrors are very important in this.
exactly, the mirrors, they give depth. I work a lot with depth. Every time I have in my subconscious something like has to have depth. When there are three-dimensional something, an image which is three-dimensional, it always keeps you dreaming.
Another interesting thing that I love about your home is how important the dining room is. And I can attest to the fact that she is someone that uses her dining room, uses it exquisitely. I was in Paris 2 weeks ago, maybe even less, and we hosted this beautiful party there, and the spread that she put out on the dining room table was extraordinary, and it was definitely someone who entertains with ease and entertains with pleasure. Tell me about the importance of the dining room in this home and what you wanted to achieve in that magical space.
Dining room is one of the most important spaces in a room, in an apartment, because you entertain people, you get closer with friends. It's there that everything happens and enjoy life. I mean, it's nice to entertain. It's part of our family tradition. So this is where I like to, when I entertain, I like to create different moods. Each and every event, I think I always add something new.
And what are the elements that are in play in that room?
In play, yeah. I've always had big tables, so the chairs are very important. They have to be comfortable to be able to spend quite time, I mean, longer than usual,
Right.
where people can enjoy more. The lighting, it's another element that has to create the mood, to set the mood. And in this space is the only elements that we were able to keep in the apartment that used to be are the two consoles, the marble consoles that were like 19th century consoles, that we kept it. Otherwise, we changed almost everything, even the mantles and everything is new, but it gives an impression that they existed ever since then.
And I love there's that classic meets contemporary moment.
It's very important because, of course, like here, you know, it's classic, but I like to mix. It has to be comfortable as well, you know.
And I love about the chairs, they're not all the same, right?
Yes, and I always, whenever I am trying to design something, it has to be, I do theirs. I like the mix because I try to be, to make a statement.
Absolutely. And the chandeliers are so spectacular.
Again, I never wanted to put something that we have seen somewhere else. So I was walking into a gallery that it was closed from outside. It drew my attention, the chandeliers. The next day I called the gallery and visited. They told me it comes from a casino boat from Spanish casino boat from 20s, and I love that period, you know, the 20s, and it was like really very attractive and nice. So this is how I got.
And the way the mantle is mixed with the mirrored behind it, it's not like you have.
Exactly. When you have a mirror, having these chandeliers, and I always add flowers and candles to enhance more the mood. And having the mirrors, it makes it really like thousands of candles at the same time, and lighting with dimmed light. It gives a very nice atmosphere.
And they're not traditional mirrors, though. They're not
No,
like
they're gold leaf behind. It's from gold leaves, and it's made also with very special artisans in Paris.
And I know setting the table is so important for you as well, and something I know you're a collector of and take pleasure in.
Yeah, I do like. I enjoy a lot setting the tables.
And what's your sort of secret? Because
I never plan. I never plan. I will only know, like, not even when I'm setting the table. This is when I know how to do it, how to continue it. Actually, Benoit saw it when we were setting the flowers and everything. I do it all by myself, so it's last minute thing.
Okay.
No preparation, but I always, as I said, add something new.
And you're not afraid to mix different things?
No, never. I just open the closet and then start doing it. I can never plan ahead. No, this is the only thing that I can never plan ahead.
Another space I love is the library. It's so cozy and warm.
Yes, because of I think the wall, the cuir de Cordoue, which were the wallpapers at the 17th century that started the Cordoba leather. It's embossed with gold leaves, all handmade. It's a piece of art by itself.
And are people still making that today, or how do you source?
Actually, this started, although they say it's Cordoba, it's called Spanish. It originated in Holland at 17th century, 16, yeah. And then, yeah, of course, they do it in France.
And was this something like you created the pattern? Was it?
There is a piece here I saw today at the winter show.
Really?
A piece of cuir de Cordoue, yes, Cordoba.
So it's the leather walls. What else? And the painting in there too, I feel like.
Yeah, here the painting is a 17th century painting. I like the mix. Yeah.
That's a perfect segue. My next question is really about the art in the home, which is such an important piece. But there is that mix that you have older pieces with contemporary ones. And how do you go about collecting? What's your approach? Do you have a certain style or?
I do.
Okay.
The painting has to be, as I said, everything has to be with me, three-dimensional, that there should be a connection. Mm-hmm. It's never coincidence. I know what kind of painting I'm going to put ahead of time.
And do you have like an emotional connection when you buy?
I do have. Everything in the apartment or in a piece should have a connection with each other. Although there is no relationship with it, a painting, an art with the mantle, there is always a connection.
So what's an example of one of those connections?
The Fontana, for example, over the beautiful mantle, which is at the Versailles, Hercule Salon de Versailles in Versailles. It's a 19th century replica that we found it somewhere on a Sunday. And it's out of proportion if you see it.
I think that was really startling, being in your home in this scale.
Mixing it, for instance, it's a daring thing because...
there it is with the Fontana.
Yeah, it's huge, but luckily we had the height that helped, more or less. It stayed for years empty because I didn't know exactly what I wanted to put.
And but I had,
yes, and it's okay, but I had in mind that I will find it one day. The minute I found this Fontana, it's not a regular Fontana that you see it. It's very rare. The theme already, I mean, there is a dialogue between, because the classical mantle with bronze and all the carvings, the Fontana is simple, abstract painting, but with the cuts, which creates this three-dimensional, the old and the new, because Fontana, if you don't know the story about this painting, he wanted something new. I wanted something new with the mantle. So this is how I decided, and it's irregular,
Yeah, the shape
hexagonal.
is so
It's
unique.
hexagonal. Actually, it was exposed at the MoMA. So the minute I saw it, I said, this is the one that it's going there.
And where are you finding things like this? Where are you looking? Because
Fairs like here.
okay.
I like to visit fairs, and I have the galleries that I work with. I have good connections with them, that I feel comfortable. This is how I choose my, I mean, with my husband, the artwork.
And do you choose the artwork together? Is that something?
We are lucky to have same taste.
So great.
So whenever I like something, he likes. Whenever he likes something, I like. So it's a two-way thing.
And do you travel to fairs together? Is that something?
Sometimes if he's available, yes. If he's not busy, I do. He joins me. I go like ahead of time. I do my, I choose the pieces, and then he joins me.
And then in contrast to something like the Fontana, there's the sculpture that's in the gallery at the end.
Yeah, the gallery, it's Art Deco. It's Janot. As you see, there are collections from different periods, but you can all put them in one apartment without feeling like there is a clash.
It's so great. And do you have a secret to that, or is it just when it works, or what's that thread?
It's not like when it works, it works. I mean, it's very deep. The connection that they relate to each other, I believe in that.
And then how do you mix your own pieces in? Do you fill in the holes and create something there, or?
Because working with bronze, it's as a metal, I love the bronze metal. As you know, the sculptures are all in bronze, the mantles, it's like an accessory that you add.
Right.
So this is how I see them, as an accessory.
And the bronze, I feel like, can take on so many different personalities.
Exactly. I think it reflects also our own personality.
Right? And we see bronze in so many different ways in your homes. Can you tell us about some of the different pieces? No, that you've made though.
Yeah.
Like the Nane,
The Nane, yeah. The Nane is a handcraft.
Okay.
So it's completely handcraft, that you do it without like creating infinity.
Okay. And that's the sort of lacy.
Yeah, lacy, yeah, by just doing it without any design, you know, you don't have to think much about doing it. Every piece is different from each, it's unique.
And then the piece that's in front of the fireplace with the Fontana with the chunkier legs.
You know, the Fontana, it's six, hexagonal, it's six. Even in Ireland, the Stonehenges, they are six. My inspiration comes from the Stonehenge for the table. So there is always a dialogue about the pieces which I have in the apartment. I like that each piece has its own story behind.
Absolutely. And I can't, speaking about stories, like I want to hear the story behind it.
Yeah, because I like to do everything with passion.
Yeah, the dragon table and the dragon.
Yeah, here also. The dragon comes, it's a symbol of force. It comes from a 19th century Édouard Lièvre cabinets that he used to design, and he himself was inspired by the Japanism at that time. So it all adds up, you know, being Japanese, simplism, I mean, everything, it's related.
Oh, that's marvelous. And what are some of your other favorite pieces from your collection?
Each piece is different. Behind each piece there is a story, so I love most of them. Because I always do first for my apartments and then commercialize it, and I call Benoit. If you
The ones, the tables that have the mix between the polished, like the super polished reflective, and then the more patinated.
the consoles, these are actually my first pieces.
Okay.
I designed it having in mind that I will be putting it there. I like the curve. I like to work with curves, I think. The curve, it reminds me of Art Nouveau period,
Right.
which I like.
How did you come to working in bronze and having the opportunity to work in your foundry? Can you tell us a little bit?
I was lucky to have my own foundry because this is something, there is no limit of creating pieces, spending time doing it. So I'm lucky to have a foundry.
And where is the foundry?
It's in Beirut. It's a family foundry. I like bronze because you can do the patinas, and when you add the patina, it takes a different shape. You can like play with it as much as you want.
Right.
There is no limit.
And speaking of no limits, what kinds of things are you working on now, or what are sort of your experiments of?
There's I mean, it's non-stop every day. Every time I need a piece, I mean, something, I have a new, every day is a new day with a new project.
I mean, I feel like there's such a difference too between like the laciness of the Nane table, but then like the heftiness of some.
I mean, it's over the years, you have some new ideas. It always evolve, you know, the ideas and the taste. Like every artist, like the painters and everyone, each period has its own influence, and yeah.
And who are some of the furniture designers or periods that you like to pull from that aren't your own pieces to round out the collection in the home to give that old new balance?
There are several. I mean, yeah. So from, if I want to mention from the Art Deco period, there is Ruhlmann, Royer, Jean-Michel Franck.
What are your thoughts on, have you walked the fair here? Have you seen?
I did, yeah. There are so many. I mean, walking here, it's like walking into a museum.
Right.
So there are several. I have taken notes of the things I saw because I don't remember them. But there are so many nice jewelries.
And anything that's going to go home with you, you think?
I have tomorrow as well to come and.
All right, we'll check in with you tomorrow.
And today I was focusing more on the panels. So.
And how do you like to approach fairs when you're not on a panel, when you're there to buy? How do you like to walk?
I like to be there before everyone.
Okay. And do you really like to engage with who's working from the different galleries, or are you more kind of on your own looking around?
No, I like on my own because I have my own, I trust my own judgment. Of course, I take the advice of people.
Other than the Winter Show, which we all love, what are some of your favorite art and design fairs that you always make sure to have on your calendar that you like to attend?
Being in Paris, there are several. Over the years, they are changing the names.
Right.
So this is Paris. I don't miss any of them. Tefaf is one of my favorites in Maastricht. That I've been going since more than like 20 years now.
And do you have favorite pieces that in your collection that you found there?
Yes.
And what are those?
The Marino Marini.
Okay.
The Miro. And the Fontana.
Amazing.
Yes. And other pieces that are not in Paris, elsewhere.
And what are some other fairs that you like and enjoy?
I used to go to Basel, in Basel.
Right.
No, I haven't been to Miami.
Okay.
Maybe soon.
Okay. And do you prefer art and design when it gets mixed at a fair, or do you like ones that are?
No, it's interesting when it's mixed.
Right.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking. If you're really looking for contemporary, then I think the Art Basel Miami is the place to look for. But if you're like more into modern art, I think it's nice to be at Tefaf, and the Brafa is nice. I do go to Brafa as well in Brussels. It's very small. Like here, the Tefaf is very huge. Sometimes you get lost. If you're not regular, you will lose your direction where you to look. But here, I found it very cozy. I mean, you can go around several times and find the pieces easily.
Incredible. I'd love to open it up to the audience for any questions that you might have for Aline. Yes, Stacy.
Aline, would you talk a little bit about like risk taking in your design, like risk taking versus following trends? Because I feel like you're on the side of you're a risk taker.
It's part of my character, I think. If you don't take risks, you don't get anywhere, I think.
Yes.
I have a question about your design process. So you're traveling and you're seeing all these wonderful things and all these fairs. Do you take photos? Do you make sketches? How do you translate your ideas to your foundry to make, I mean, I imagine you sketch something. Do you also have to give like technical drawings? Like, how does that all happen?
Yeah, I do sketches because I have my own foundry. Sometimes some pieces, you don't you cannot just have a sketch to realize it. So I spent some days there doing it with the artisans, working, doing trials and executing.
And then do you change things if something turns out you don't like it or this?
Non-stop. Because I do it with great passion, so I like to get involved.
And are you going to the foundry and you're doing that in person?
I do. When I have important things, new pieces, I do go.
Yeah, it seems like
I spend some time there, yes. Yeah, especially the patinas, yes.
Jose?
I see that you understand the house like a living entity, that is like a living thing. And I would like to ask you, how do you see the future of the house? There's something that would excite you? Do you have any idea how it will develop or?
Actually, every day I change something. Maybe not the pieces, but the tables, they move, although they are heavy. This is the problem in they move from the office to the entry or to another room. They just go from one place to the other constantly.
Do you have any idea or any object that you would be excited to have in the house?
Yes, of course. Always. When you love to have pieces and collect, it's a never-ending story.
Did you have for the house some pieces that you designed the room around that piece, or did you just adapted everything so it would work together?
No, I do. I know where I am going to put it.
Until you move it.
Yes.
Hi. I was honored to be in your home a few weeks ago with Galerie, and it is everything and more. Glorious is the perfect word. That said, I know you have your own foundry, you work in bronze. Have you ever considered another medium? Have you ever considered, I don't know, stone for dimensionality?
No, not stone, but wood, yes. I like to always work with materials that I can feel like, they speak with, because the wood also, it has the veins and, it's deep. But the stone for me, I like more the stone to be the floor or some, but not the pieces to put in.
Understood. Your mantles are incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love the doors throughout the apartment. Are they original to the apartment, or because there's a metal influence, are they something you've added?
Exactly, it's custom made. It's in bronze as well. This is what I wanted to do. I mean, the idea was that everything you think that used to be in that apartment, but actually nothing was there except the consoles in the dining room, which were in marble.
Thank you for this talk. So I think you're an extremely fashionable lady. Of course, you live in Paris. And you talk about change and changing up your interiors all the time. So what's best than with textiles. So I have two questions. Who is your favorite couture house, like fashion house? And who is your favorite, or like just name a couple of textile brands that you like to work with?
Couture, there are so many. It depends which period you're talking about. I mean, now it's changing constantly. The designers, they are moving from one house to the other. So you cannot keep anymore. Of course, I used to love Valentino, but it's changing. Textile, I like the Venetian textile. This is Venetian, I mean, it's Italian.
And you have some Dédar in there too, right?
Everything in velvet is Dédar. For the benches, it's Anne who does her own textile.
Oh yes, she does beautiful. Anne Corbière.
Anne Corbière, yes.
And I just looking at these images and seeing you in this red blouse, there's like a red thread in some of the rooms. We see red
Yeah,
sofas.
I think these are my colors unconsciously. I mean, it's not like planned thing, but you know, in your subconscious, that just happens that.
I love it because I think some people are like, get a little scared from red, but
this is what Stacy says, I dare.
My question is, what is the wall covering in the bedroom? The very dark gray?
It's Dédar.
Yeah.
It's fabric.
It's fabric, and it
Yeah.
goes up to the ceiling, and then it's painted, I guess.
Yes.
It's what kind of fabric?
Damassé, comme on dit.
damask.
Damask. Okay. Thank you.
And you backed it on paper, or you put
No,
it?
it's
and it has like a lush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is classic with the twist. I mean, you feel, this is the, I mean, I always have in my mind to have an apartment that you really enjoy spending time.
Yeah, and the fabric on the walls in a bedroom, I feel like the sound quality is different. Like it just
It
feels
adds coziness.
cozy.
Yes, sorry.
My question is about you saying you move things around, even heavy tables. I know there was a famous interview that Anderson Cooper had with his mother, and Gloria Vanderbilt said, every month I move all the furniture around. Sometimes it's even worse than it was, but every month I make it different. My question to you is, I'm a period collector. I'm finding it very hard to understand the fontana on that wall. Do you, for a different crowd, ever rotate or move the art? Would you put a Nattier instead of a fontana, or is it just the furniture?
No, in that place, I think I will keep the fontana. It will not move.
Okay, that was my answer to my question.
The others maybe, probably yes, but not the fontana.
I just wanted to know what museums you frequent for design inspiration when you're traveling to these fairs. Like here in Manhattan, do you have any favorite museums? In Paris, do you have any favorites?
Last time I was here in November for the Saloni, I went to MoMA.
That's a perfect classic
Can't
museum.
go wrong.
Can't go wrong.
This is wonderful. Aline, thank you so much. It's
Thank you,
been
Jackie.
such a pleasure.
Thank you.